Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. I gotta sit there and say, and I was saying this in my GH review today, that Days have been on fire lately. Like, it's been much better than GH. Now, GH I've been watching since 2001. And I pretty much love nearly all the characters on that show. I like the characters on this show, but they're not the same. That doesn't mean that they're worse or anything like that. It's just, for the most part, throughout my college and high school years, was always GH. With that being said, Days have actually been a lot better in the last couple episodes, in the last few weeks, than GH. It's almost as though GH is just, I don't want to say stop trying, but like, and I have told people, even in my GH reviews, I'm like, yo, you gotta give Days a chance. I mean, I'm just as shocked. And thank you for letting me know. 1 second. Jackie, thank you for letting me know. Well, it won't be on for 2 weeks because of the, the Olympics and stuff like that. So, yeah, like I said, Days have been on fire, and this episode was actually really good. And, in the beginning, you had Eric and Nicole, and Eric, well, pretty much, Nicole came in, and Eric already looked like he was already done. Like, this dude was already gone, he was about to exit, he was just ready to peace out. She turned around, she saw the luggage, and she was like, so I guess I was just going to come back to an empty house. Now, at first, Eric was like, listen, there's really nothing else to say. Like, there's nothing else to talk about. We're done. I'm peacing out. I'm going back to Africa. I'm good. And then Nicole was like, you're running away. And at first, I was like, I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry, what? What did you say? You're running away? In my head, I'm like, yo, is this chick serious? How many times did she cheat on this man? I mean, you cheat on him, and you have the audacity to sit there and say, he's running away. Oh, Nicole, I'm sitting down for this one. Please elaborate on that. So in the beginning, I'm not going to lie, I was like, Nicole, what could you possibly say to make this better? And I gotta sit there and say that when I look at it all, Nicole, let's be clear about this whole thing. Nicole is the wrong one here, okay? Even if Eric was at fault to some extent, alright? There was much better ways of handling it than the way that she handled it, okay? And when it comes down to it, there's always another way other than cheating. Okay? There's always another way other than cheating. So, even the loneliness and the distance and the fact that he was gone for X amount of... No. Sweetheart, no. I get it. But you do not get a pass for cheating. You don't. Okay? You just don't. That's just not how it works. But with that being said, Nicole did have some valid points. At first Nicole was like, you left for Africa. And he was like, you told me to leave. And she was like, I didn't tell you to leave for that long. And I'm like, well, she has a point. She has a point. And you just kept extending and extending and extending it. And that's pretty much what it came down to. Is that after a while, Eric realized that, you know what, listen, I was running away. And she was right. I did help create the circumstances to which she cheated on me. I helped create that circumstance. So I can't sit there and just be like, nah, you did this, this is on you. Fully all on you, because it wasn't. And Nicole was like, listen, you may be able to forgive me, but I can't forgive myself. With that being said, she was like, this marriage is over. And you look at this whole situation, Now, most people could sit there, and I want to sit there and ask a question. Alright, it's the question of the night. Could you forgive someone for cheating on you? Okay? Not necessarily if you cheated on them first, just if they cheated on you. Regardless of whatever the circumstances is. If they cheated on you, would you be able to forgive that? You know? Because a lot of people, try to sit there and say kick rock. Some people will be like, alright, let's sit there and try it, let's make it work. And I want to know your thoughts on that. You know, after a while, I kind of had to sit there and listen to what Nicole said, because I was like, especially if you cheat on someone, it's like, yo, you don't have the right to say X, Y, and Z. You don't. But it takes two to tango. And at the end of the day, Nicole is still at fault. Okay? Nicole is still at fault. I'm so not happy with what Nicole did. But Eric created those environments, those circumstances, to which that's where it came from. Now, at first, when she was all like, I was lonely, and I was this, and I was that, I was like, Nicole, I don't give a damn. I really don't. But hearing her and saying, you know, the fact that he left and all this other stuff that contributed to it, yeah. And, with that being said, Eric heads out. You know, he already has a suitcase ready. You know, the picture's already torn. Or the picture's already shattered. He checked out. You know, he was like, I can stay tonight. I'm like, for what? Now, this is where for me, I'm very boggled. Because part of me is like, seeing the promos and everything like that, and Eric is coming back, and people are getting really excited, and like, yeah, this is going to be so great, this is going to be so awesome, it's going to be amazing, they're going to do his character right, and they're going to do it justice, and then he's like, I'm going back to Africa. I'm just not there looking at this now, I'm like, so let me get this straight. We did an entire promo. We had this man in here, back in bed with Nicole, being back, think he's going to sit there and stay. I think I could probably count the amount of episodes in one hand that he's been on. And now, it's done. He's going. He's gone. Okay. Wow. I can't sit there and speak for everyone else. For me, as a newcomer or anything like that, I am so glad that I was not super invested into his character and really super excited that he came back. I mean, I was, you know, happy for the promos and see whatever, but I haven't spent this much time watching the show. Okay? That's like if they decide, I don't know. That's like if they decided, you know, they were going to bring Jason back from General Hospital. But he was only going to be back until he got out the clinic. And then he was going to be gone. I would have been so pissed. I would have been like, yo, are you kidding me? You got my... So, if anyone who is a fan of Eric, I am sorry. And that's not me being a dick, me being sarcastic. I am dead serious about that. Now, let's get into the Sammy and EJ part of the storyline. Now, EJ is still sitting there wondering, what did Nicole mean by casting the first stone and sins and all this other stuff like that? And Sammy does her best to sit there and explain it away. Oh, she's lashing out at everyone. She's just saying whatever she's to say to shift blame and yada yada yada. And, you know, EJ puts together that, yeah, you know, the timing about Xander walking in and you acting like you're not surprised, especially when you kept looking at the door, checking the time every 5 minutes and didn't jump in to, as the Americans say, pile on. You know, so after a while, Sammy was like, you know, listen, I gotta complain about something. Because she didn't even like the fact that she felt like he was interrogating her. I'm like, well, listen, if your conscience is clean, you have nothing to hide. But nope, you have plenty to hide, sweetheart. So she tells him, she's like, listen, yeah, I did it. I paid him $1 million, but it was worth it. Because, yeah, I feel bad for Eric and his heart being broken, but I'm glad that the truth came out and he can move on, or something along those lines that she was meant to say. And the point is, she justified her actions of what she did to Eric. Even if Eric, and granted, she was like, if she told Eric, because her justification is that if she would have told Eric, he might not have believed her. And that something like that was a big enough wake-up call. This is what John said, I think, yesterday's episode. Somebody else pointed that out. Now, that might be all good and well. But at the end of the day, you could sit there and say, you know what, I tried to tell my brother. But let's be honest, that's what a good person would do. A person like Sammy would do exactly that. Of course, it's, ironic because she's doing the exact same thing to EJ. And she is so nervous. Every time EJ brings up, well, I couldn't imagine somebody sitting there doing that to me. I would lose my mind. She's always like, oh, yeah. Like, Sammy, you're such a damn coward along with everything else. But for some odd reason, people like you, and it just escapes me. But whatever. Ben and Ciara, watching these two lately has been annoying. And I'm going to get to the Lucas, because I almost forgot about that. I'm going to get to the Lucas part. Has been so annoying. Because Ben keeps pushing, and Ciara digs on her heels, starts acting catty. You have this person that's acting catty. You have Ben that's being extremely desperate. So, yeah, by default, Theo seems like the logical choice. Theo did come to Chad's place and ask him to be his best man. And I like these scenes because Chad acts like a human being. He doesn't act like a dick. He acts like a human being, He smiles. Dude actually smiled. He lights up. I was like, whoa. Where did the other guy go? Where's that guy at? And of course he said yes. Theo doesn't like the fact that, and by the way, Victor, because, he's not on the show, Victor was able to get the marriage, he, powerful man. Judge owed him a favor, whatever, so that's done. But Theo doesn't like the fact that they're getting married on Ben's anniversary as a way to stick it to Ben. And Chad was like, listen, no matter what it's about, her feelings doesn't change. So it is what it is. So, no worries, just keep doing your thing. Because at first he was like, what's the rush? Because it was literally, he was like, oh, we're getting married tomorrow. I was like, what's the rush? And so yeah. Now on the other side, you have Allie and Ciara. And Ciara asked Allie to be her maid of honor. And Allie's like, yeah, she talks about Ben. And she's like, on your anniversary and yada yada yada. And of course, Ciara acts all catty and everything like that. And, oh, I can't believe I married him and yada yada yada. And I don't remember him. And, Allie talks about the wedding. And she's about to talk about the vows. But Ciara's just like, no, I don't want to sit there and hear that. And yada yada yada. And at one point, Ciara was like, oh, well, I thought you were just going to be happy for me. And I'm like, listen, as much as I don't like Allie, even Allie felt like there was just something off. The fact that she's rushing to sit there and get married to this man because, at this point, I don't even care. But she's rushing to sit there and get married. Even Allie's like, this don't feel right. So she doesn't give her a yes automatically, right away. When Theo comes in and Ciara's all like, oh, well, I asked her to be my maid of honor, and she's like, yeah. She says yes because, well, let's be honest. Who else is she going to ask? I mean, seriously, who else could she I really want to hear that answer. So see, Allie decides to, do it. So she has a maid of honor, and she has Theo. Because, yeah. And I think I'm going to sit there and not call Theo the usual names I pretty much have called him throughout most of these reviews. I'm just going to just leave it alone for today, because, honestly, to tell you the truth, Ben and Sierra is just kind of enough at this point. And of course, Claire comes in. I'm gonna give him a reprieve for today until he does something to annoy me. Let's make that clear. Now Claire walks into Ben's place, and Claire's, I don't remember what she was saying. She was like, "Oh, we gotta sit there and get Bella. We can get Bella to sit there and stop the stop the divorce or whatever." And Ben is like, it's going to be too late because she's doing it tomorrow. Of course, she gets a call. Claire gets a call and then tells her that the marriage has already been annulled, and, they're going to be doing it, it is what it is. And Ben is like, well, I'm going to sit there and do everything in my power to sit there and stop this wedding. Okay, so we're still doing that. We're back to that. Okay, that's... Now, I know most of the people who watch this show watch Ben and Sierra. I guess I can kind of sit there and picture them to be the Sam and Jason of the show. But I'm going to be honest. From my point of view, they're both just so annoying that it's just like, the only reason why I actually want them to get together is that way they stop fighting and they just stop being annoying on both sides. Maybe they'll get married and they'll just go back to Africa and, we won't have to sit there and hear that. And, Ben can sit there and get together with Claire and they can have their thing. And I can't take this whole, them going back and forth with each other. It's just annoying. It is really annoying. Oh, last scene is Lucas and Philip part. Philip is still, you gotta sit there and give that, you gotta find a way to get the letter in EJ's hand. And Lucas is I don't know if that's a good idea. First of all, EJ could be dangerous, okay, towards Sammy. If he finds out, we don't know what he can do. And it's just one of those things where it's I guess he just felt like it didn't feel right. It just didn't feel right. And at one point, there was we can give Nicole the letter and have her give it to EJ. Even Lucas, that's a gamble. Because what if she doesn't? What if she doesn't get the letter to EJ? I think more importantly, he just realized that doing it that way just feels wrong. You're not winning her back. You're not getting her back the right way. You're doing this deceptiveness, and you're building this relationship built on the foundation of underhandedness, I guess. So he was like, this isn't right. I'm not going to do it. He takes the letter, throws it in the trash can. I'm just like, bro, anyone can actually pick that up, right? Why don't you take it and burn it? Never mind. So he puts it in the trash can, and Philip, he basically leaves yeah, well, just because you've given up on this whole thing doesn't mean I will. When this whole thing comes back, this is how Philip is his own worst enemy. I've noticed that. Philip is going to sit there and wind up doing, somehow getting the letter to EJ. This whole thing's going to blow up. Right? This whole thing's going to blow up. Chloe's going to sit there and look at Philip and be like, why would you do that for? I don't even like Sammy, but why would you do that for? And kind of realize that that's not an attractive quality. And once again, it's not going to take much for her to go right back to Brady. Because, you're dealing with somebody who's still being deceptive and underhanded and blowing up people's marriages, as opposed to Brady, which is her only obstacle is Kristen. And I guess at this point, she'll probably wind up choosing danger with Kristen than Philip, who, and let's be honest, was a consolation prize to begin with. This is funny. This is fun. But yeah, so I gotta sit there and say that this episode is much better than GH. It's gonna be going for 2 weeks. I'm not gonna lie. I'm actually gonna miss this show. Even when I start watching it, because work and everything like that, I still miss the show. So it's gonna be something. Part of me sitting there thinking maybe I could sit there and watch Y&R. I'm not gonna do B&B because the whole copyright strike. But I was sitting there thinking maybe Y&R, but I don't know. CBS has a way of just being CBS, and yeah, I don't know about that. Especially given that even if I do watch it for 2 weeks, Days is gonna come back, and I'm gonna be sitting there dealing with 3, and that's gonna be a lot. So, if I miss anything, please write it down in the comment section below. With that being said, I'm going to go. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.